Hello and welcome to another edition of The One Team We Agree On. I'm Jillian.
And I'm Kyle. And on today's show, we have a very special guest, Mr. Skyler Hoffner. He is the social media admin and blogger for the Union Nation, which is part of the Philadelphia Sports Nation. And Skyler, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I'm happy to be on.
No problem. And we've kind of gotten to meet each other a little bit through our mutual acquaintance with Todd Lewis, obviously, and then with me being in the press box. So thought this would be a good time to have you on. So before we get started, Jillian, what are you wearing today?
I thought I would go with the lucky jersey that I wear to every game. And yep, just going to continue with that until I feel like it's lost its mojo.
And I'm saving it, so I'm wearing our season ticket package t-shirt. And so, Skyler, you wearing any Union gear today?
I'm just rocking a black t-shirt and a black Nike hat.
Hey,
oh man, that's stuff.
All good.
It's classic.
It is classic, and for some, and for those you don't know in the press box, Skyler, both times I've seen you always got the best gear up there for us, for all the press credentials. So, I always like to say that because I'm wearing my Under Armour Taj usually got pulled on. And there you are, just rocking it out. I'm like, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, Skyler, how did you get into following the Union? Just kind of give us your backstory a little bit about how you became a fan, how you got working for Philadelphia Nation.
Yeah, so I've been a soccer fan my whole life. Played soccer since I could walk. And I went to the second home game ever at PPL Park.
Mm-hmm.
And then back in, I think it was 2015, I got partial season tickets in section 130. So I really liked going to Union games. And then in I think it was 17, I started wanting to cover the Union because I really wanted to go into sports journalism. So I looked online and I seen that Philadelphia Sports Nation had a job application out for a blogger and a social media admin. So I applied and I got it. And I've been with Union Nation 17 and I've been a media member since 2019.
Nice. And then what would you say since covering the Union have been your top 3 favorite moments, most memorable moments?
Probably the first playoff win in 2019 against Red Bull.
Yep.
Lifting the supporter shield at home. And then it's got to be the last year, the Eastern Conference Championship.
Nice.
Probably the top 3 since 2019. The big 3.
The big three.
Absolutely.
The big 3. We won't talk about the cup.
Yeah, we won't talk about that since I was there.
And I think we all just need to move on from 2022, and we'll definitely talk about that a little bit. We do have a question though. One of the listeners of the show and a friend of ours, Todd Lewis, wants to know, because we have fun here. Who's your favorite person to sit next to in the press box?
It's got to be Todd. That's my man. He's been my man for the last year and a half. Me and him have been inseparable. And Nico knows that me and Todd always sit next to each other.
Yeah, it's funny because like when I was sitting in there that one game against Sport KC, I was like, oh man, am I breaking up the mojo here? So
I feel like the last year and a half, me and Todd have been sitting next to each other like every game.
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. So let's dive into a little bit about the Red Bulls, and then we'll go to the just your thoughts on the Union season in general. So Saturday night, you and I were in the presser there at the end, and as Jim referred to that match, it was a street fight. I mean, what was your thoughts on this? Because you and I were talking about this after the game. I mean, it was not pretty.
Bumper cars. There was no soccer played whatsoever. You felt like there was a foul every other minute. It's that neither team could get anything going because there's so much stop and go, stop and go. It's hard to win a soccer match when you're doing that. Luckily, we got the penalty. We'll talk about that later, but there was no soccer played whatsoever. But thankfully, we got the W.
Exactly. And Jillian, you were up in the supporter section.
Yeah.
What was the atmosphere like up there? What were you guys taking?
It was great. So I like that when we're on the road, the people that are there, mostly the people that are really invested. So everyone is pretty much cheering, and the Sons of Ben and the Keystone State Ultras, everyone was cheering together. And it's great. Like, for anyone listening that hasn't attended an away game like that, it's something you need to do. It's a lot of fun. And I really liked, though, how the group just comes together. And we even, we're in section 120 or 220 or whatever, and there's people over in 221 where my ticket actually was from, but everyone's like, come on over, and grabbed people that were over in the next section, the fans, and brought more people in, and everyone was good and loud, and you could hear it on the broadcast. I was told, so that's good. It was great, though. We had a lot of fun, and I know the team seemed to appreciate it too, and showed their appreciation at the end of the game there. It's huge.
It was huge.
But it was a real good time. And I have to say, probably a year or two ago, if I would have gone to that and not, I'm up there without you, Kyle.
Yeah.
I'm up there on my own. But it's such a, good group. And I knew some of the people, and it was all good. And I didn't mind being up there by myself, although it's not the same without you. But still, it's all good.
Scott, I don't know if you thought the same way. I thought, once again, just like you were up there last year, right? For the game.
Yeah.
I thought once again, Sons of Ben's Keystone Ultras out.
Yeah. I'll tell you something. It was very more cohesive of a group this time than the last time. I'll be honest with you. We could hear more of the Sons of Ben this year than last year. I don't know if there was more people that traveled last year or this year, but we heard you guys way louder this year.
Right. I mean, even like right there towards the end of the game when UA was holding up and we're all just sitting there like they're just trying to grind out that win. And like the ball goes down the field out of bounds, and then all of a sudden you just hear the UA chant. I'm just like sitting there, go, what? They're just chanting.
It's just echoing off the top of the roof.
Oh, it was great. It was the problem with, and I saw a lot of discussion about this on Twitter today too. The problem with at our home games is people are all kind of spread out, and you have the Keystone State Ultras on the one side, and then you have pockets of SOBs that are actually involved in chanting. And then you have the people that are just kind of there because, it's the cheap seats, or they're there with, friends. And so sometimes you get a lot less cohesiveness there. So, definitely different. I personally thought that's so much more fun when we're away and we have all the people that are invested there.
For sure.
100%.
Yeah. Were you going to say something? Sorry.
Yeah, I'd 100% agree with that. Going to the away games just like the LAFC game last year in MLS Cup. Everybody there really wanted to be there and were invested and were heard in that stadium, no matter what.
Oh,
and
for
that's
sure.
what you like to see.
And that's so true with like DC. I'm excited for like we're going up to NYCFC up at City Field because we're trying to knock off some ballparks too. And
I wanted to go to that game, but I'm sadly not.
Oh yeah, we're probably gonna miss DC. It looks like I got a work commitment, so
yeah, I'm going to DC.
That's a good environment, but that goes to say like even you. Let's just talk about even in LA, there was a great crowd in 2022, but we've been seeing more and more traveling support groups on TV. I mean, we were at the was it the first leg of no, it was after the second leg of the Atlas game. We talked to like two fans in our section that went down. They were like the only two fans there at the game. Yeah, that was the crazy thing. They're like, we were the only two fans in the game. They were showing us pictures and all that. But it's just really cool now to start seeing, and obviously success helps, but we're starting to see a lot more of the supporters showing up to these away games and creating that kind of atmosphere. And it's great to see.
What teams need.
It really is. So where are you with the Union they're being able to create chances so far this year, and we've seen it over and over again. We saw things early on last year and then improve. Where are you with them just not being able to finish this year? It's like deja vu, but almost 10 times worse.
So I feel like it has to do with the diamond this year. I have a feeling that this is what, the third year the Union are running the diamond.
Yep.
Teams are getting more and more tape on the Union, more and more, and they're just figuring us out now. And I feel like we're not getting much production from Flock and Bedoya on the wings, and it's hurting our production up the wings, and it's making Mbaizo, Harriel, and Wagner work more. And we're getting beat on defense when we turn the ball over, like we've seen plenty of times this weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just feel like teams are just learning what we're doing, and it's just hurting us. And plus, it doesn't help when Ua, Carranza, and Gazdag aren't playing up to their.
And do you feel like with them, with those three, is it something, because we've seen, I mean, obviously Ua had the hat trick. We've seen Gazdag and Carranza at times this year all of a sudden just have those quick rebounds. Is it something where you're like, it's not there, it's never going to be there, or do you think it's just something going back to the diamond that teams are figuring us out and we just got to learn to adapt and it's going to take longer?
I just feel like we have to adapt. Teams are learning what we're doing, and we just have to find something different in that final third. I feel like we're doing the same thing. Gazdag isn't coming, either comes too deep into the midfield to
Right.
receive the ball, or he's all the way up at the line with Carranza and Gazdag, and then you have our wing backs all the way up. And it's like there's nowhere to go. We have six guys at the defensive line. We have nowhere to go in the midfield. And then Jose loses the ball in the midfield, and it's like, where are we going? Counterattack the other way.
Yeah.
I just feel like Jim and the staff just have to find something different in that midfield to get more attack. And hopefully McGlynn helps out a little bit more in the future, but who knows how long he's going to be here.
Right. And, I think, and that brings up the curious case of Leon Flock, because let's be honest, he has regressed. And I asked the question, how'd you assess that game? Because we're sitting there, we're watching, you're watching him up there.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a 6. I know Jim wants him to be a 6. Jim talks about confidence, but we've seen it. Yeah. He's not confident in that position. He's running around like LAFC second leg was awful. We're not talking about that. But even Saturday night, okay, yes, his defense got a little better, but even still, there were turnovers. There were turnovers in key positions that led to a couple chances that luckily Damian Lowe had the game that he did. Glesnes is going to do good. Blake. And Harrell's probably our best 1v1 defender. So, I mean, we were able to cover up, but where are you with him? Because it's just a curious case.
I just feel like if McGlynn stays with the Union the rest of this year, I feel like he's keeping that spot unless he loses it.
Correct.
Just Flock, we know he's a stout defender when he's on that left flank, when he's being helped out by Martinez and Wagner. But when we get into that counterattack and he has that ball, he just does not have the vision and the attacking prowess to get it up there and just go on the attack. We've seen that year after year. What has he now been with the team? 2-3 years now. He have 1 goal, and it was in Cincinnati last year. It was at He has 1 goal. It's just he's just not that attacking player we need that Bedoya can be for the team that we've seen in the past. Bedoya can score goals. Flock, he's just not the attacking prowess we need on the left side with Wagner. I feel like McGlynn helps out Wagner with his attacking prowess, and he can defend him. I mean, he's not the defender Flock is, but I just feel like he's the better fit for that left flank.
Do you feel like it was last year Jim was like, well, Jack, his defense isn't where it needs to be. And now this year it's like Jim can live with Flock's, McGlynn's defense enough where he's like, I can't pass up. It's kind of like Bizo, that whole Bizo thing, but that's a whole nother. But that's a whole nother. Yeah. I still get teased all the time about me saying he's going to be a top 5 right back. I'm out of that now after that LA game. But
but when you have Wagner back there,
yeah,
you can have a little bit of more of an attack because Wagner can get back and defend. He can defend for himself.
Right.
But I just feel like you need more attack on that left side, especially with his left. You need his left foot out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like you said, like we just said, he's come a long way on the defensive side. So I agree. I feel like Jim just really wants to get Leon out there at times, and that's kind of the problem I have this year. Is I feel like, and I don't know how you feel, there's times this year where I feel like we got other players, and I know this has been going on. This is a big debate right now that we got other players. Why are they not playing? I just feel Jim trusts Leon, so he's going to be out there. But I'm curious now with somebody like Bueno, who came in, played some really good minutes there. And now, granted, came in for Ali. I just would like to see him, maybe even Odada, because Odada had that one game in which was a friendly, and I thought he at least was really good against a defense. I mean, where are you with some of this? Is it just Jim trying to figure out what he has and not trusting his bench yet? Where are you?
Well, you definitely have the confidence in Flock. I mean, he was your starter for a good year and a half, 2 years. You're going to have the confidence in him. In my opinion, Flock needs to be that Warren Perval for the Union, coming off the bench in the 75th minute and closing out a game, a tight 1-0 game or a 1-goal game. That's what he needs to be, and that's what he needs to be for the rest of his Union tenure. Unless you sell McGlynn, then you have to play. Unless we get somebody else. But that's what he has to be. And I know plenty of other people that have been saying that as well, that he needs to be that Warren Perval player for the Union.
And I don't disagree with that, because you're right. Cavall could come in a close 1-0 game, 2-1 game, and just shut it down when we need that. And that's something this year that has kind of missed. I feel like we could bring in like a Nate Harrow if Bizer's struggling on that right side. If we do need more defensive stoppers at times, I feel, this year.
Yeah, and I feel like Bueno could be that player too.
He
could. Who do you feel more comfortable with?
It really is. And even somebody like Andres Perea, who, let's talk about him real quick, because there's a curious case of a guy that in CCL was tearing it up, that awful game, which we don't really want to talk about, Orlando. He goes out there and plays the game, and you can say he was probably the best guy on the field. I mean, where are you at with him? Is it just something that Jim's like, because he's not somebody that's really done anything poor this year?
No, he hasn't shown us anything bad, but he showed us good moments and nothing bad. Honestly, I just have a feeling that Jim just trusts Bedoya to be out there, even on tired legs. Like he just still has that trust that Bedoya won't do anything stupid to get that second yellow or just do anything bad in the attacking half to turn it over. It just because Perea can play that 6. We've seen him play that 6 for Orlando. But I just don't think Jim and the coaching staff thinks he can play the 6 in the Union system. So the only spot is going to be that right flank, because I don't know if you can put him on that left flank. So the only backup spot is Bedoya. And like we've seen, Jim doesn't like to take out Ali unless he really has to. But like we've seen on the weekend, he put Bueno in there for more defense.
Right.
But I just don't think the team sees him as a defensive option.
And which is curious, because you've seen his stats with Orlando. I mean, he's a defensive guy, and he can play the 10 too if you got to give Danny a break. Because let's be honest, God's Dog's an Iron Man, but you got to rest these guys, especially with all these games.
So many games.
So many games.
What is it, like 6 in like 18 days or something like that? It's
insane.
We were just talking here today. I'm like, my gosh, like we're trying to figure out our schedule with coaching and all that. And it's just like, this is a lot of games.
It's busy for us as fans going to all the games. I can't imagine what it's like for those guys. They're actually having to travel and, do all the training and just all of that stuff that goes into it.
And that brings up a point too, because Jim brought this up on Saturday. And, he talked about all the games. He's like, man, we probably spend more time. The team's probably getting sick of each other and family. And you see some of the spouses and families talking about the struggles too this year. Do you think that's playing a part at all into this? And I'm not trying to get out there, but like it, from being a coach and being away when I was in the college, it's tough for a coach. So it has to be, but I'm just curious, like, what does that, what do you think?
In the back of your mind, it definitely probably does take a toll, but nobody will ever admit it. They're going to be like, yeah, we miss our family, but like, this is what puts food on the table. This is like our profession. Like, just like anybody, if you're at work, it's just like, you're away from your family. It's like you got to do what you got to do. Like this is what you want to do. Like
Right.
you make sacrifices. But yeah, it definitely takes a little bit toll on them. Definitely, especially guys with young families. Like I know Wagner's family was there. I know Goslock's family was there. I seen them on
Right.
Instagram.
Mhm.
But it's just like at least they get to travel to some of the games and be with
Right.
them. But it's just not the same. But yeah,
It's really not the same. And true, they are professionals. They signed up for this, and you're right. They're not going to sit there and say that. But do you think what do you think MLS needs to do? Because this has been another debate. Do we need to decrease the number of outside competitions, or do we need to increase the roster size?
I think we should have never done the Leagues Cup. I feel like that is just a money grab at itself, like a lot of people think.
Yes,
Um,
exactly what
I,
you said before. Connor.
yeah,
Yes, yeah, we all know that's Don
Mhm.
Garber
yeah.
trying to make the money.
But I roster size, I feel like in a couple years it should expand,
Hmm.
especially if the more like younger, like European, South America players come over that actually want to play in this league. I feel like you have to bump up the roster sizes and the money that teams can spend. Because like that's the only way we can grow as a league.
Right,
There's nothing you can do. We're not going to grow unless you allow us to buy these players that people want to come and watch.
like a
That's my
Messi,
thing.
like a Messi.
Like a
Which do you think
oh,
that's going to
that's
happen? Do you think it's going to happen? Like put a percentage. Like
yeah.
I'm like, I'll tell you where I'm at. I'm at like 50% because yes, he has a house here in Florida. We all know that.
I'd go 30
Yeah, like I'm
unless he gets like a contract, like he gets a stake in the like he can purchase a stake in the club. I
right.
feel like that would be like he gets a stake from Beckham or whatever. Like gets a certain stake in the club. Like after he's done, I feel like that's something that he would be intrigued by. But the offer from was it Saudi Arabia or something like
Yeah,
that? That I don't think he turns any of that down. It's like, but yeah, if he ever did, I just have a feeling it's like 25-30%.
I do too. And my other thing is, I don't think that's going to be like one of those old like MLS at bringing back the old guys because he's still playing. I mean, he's not Messi of 4 or 5 years ago, but he's still Messi. I mean,
Messi that just
Mm.
won a World Cup.
Yep.
exactly.
Mhm.
So,
Can't knock that.
and I think had he not had that World Cup, those rumblings about Miami would have grown a little louder. I don't know how you feel about that, but I certainly think that his World Cup kind of kept his days in Europe a little bit longer
100%.
than, yeah.
Like if
So,
he wouldn't have played that good, and maybe we might have heard.
yeah, it's just a curious thing because we're starting to see, and this is good for the league. We're starting to see some of these players starting to pay attention to MLS. So I'll be curious in the next 2 to 3 years to see how many of these big names come over. If nothing else, maybe for a restart. I mean, heck, Cristiano Ronaldo is leaving Saudi Arabia, so maybe Vermees, if he's still there, is going to reach back out and
Yeah,
and make an offer. I still can't believe that.
this discovery rights.
Right. Yeah. Let's.
That's another story.
Oh, that's a whole nother. Don't even get me started on that.
Yeah.
So, do you want to answer?
Yeah. So we've had 2 league wins, and how can the Union build off this? Can we get 10 points in the 5 matches?
Coming
What
up?
do you think?
So I looked at the 5 matches, and I have my predictions for it. So
Mm-hmm.
we start off with Colorado. Say that's a draw on the road.
Mm-hmm.
We beat DC at home midweek. We draw New England at home, lose to New York City, and beat Charlotte, and that's only 8 points. I just have a feeling that we're just going to drop. We should beat New England, but I just have a feeling we're just going to drop that. And
Mm-hmm.
then New York, we got our first win against NYCFC there last year. I just have a feeling we're just not going to beat them this year. I feel like they're solid this year, and we just don't play good at on a baseball.
Right.
Yeah, so I think 8 points out of that possible.
Yeah.
I hope it's more, but I'll
So
stick with a good 8.
yeah. So my whole thing is I'm with you on the the DC. I think we can take DC at home because I still think we're going to be coming off. And the other thing I think is, and I wanted to ask Jim this: how important is next week? Because you're at home with your family. You've been on the road. Now you got a whole week. Then you go to New York for a day, and you're back home. And then you got Charlotte. Like this end of the month, as crazy as it is, these players are home.
Yeah.
They're home, and I have that as a win. I have Colorado, believe it or not, as a win.
I was tossed up between that. I'm like, just after here and then having, well, the starters aren't going to play in Minnesota. We know that. I just have a feeling that going to Colorado, the altitude, probably haven't played in Colorado in a few. I can't remember last time the Union played Colorado.
Yeah,
No way.
I can't.
But I just have a feeling that up in that altitude, they just.
Yeah, so when I put this together beginning of the year, I had it as a win. But now Colorado's 6 unbeaten, so they're playing red hot right now. And Robin Frazier's on the hot seat, and those players play for him. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic. We'll see. I'll be interested to see what they do with the U.S. Cup.
Well, we'll be in Colorado, so hopefully,
yeah,
hopefully we'll bring good luck. I'd be good with a draw there. A draw would be great in that situation.
I just need points, and then I'm kind of with you. I don't know about New England. They're red hot. They're just focused on the Shield again. Bruce has his players playing good now.
Home game
is a home game, but again,
it's a good team that's sitting up there in the table.
It's gonna be tough, yeah.
And the other thing is, Jack's probably not going to be there. Quinn's not going to be there.
That's what I took into.
Yeah, and regardless of that,
and they're not going to have a midweek game. We do.
Exactly.
So we're going to be higher than them.
And I'm with you. I have New York City as a loss. They're catching, figuring out what they were doing from, obviously they lost Taddy last year, then they lost their head coach. I think they're going to be, I don't think that they're going to be NYCFC from 2 years ago or even last year, but they're going to be one of these teams that's just going to be there in the middle of the Eastern Conference. And if they get hot, they're going to be a problem.
Especially towards the end of the year. They're just going to be a pestering team this year.
Exactly.
They got a solid squad.
They do.
Well, the good news about the NYC game is I'm sure once again we'll have a really good, group that travels. So
I wouldn't expect anything less.
Yeah.
So
that's at Citi Field, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Have you been up there?
Nah, I haven't. I wanted to get to Yankee Stadium last year, but it was super early in the season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We went to that one. Yeah, that one was a good time. That was actually our first away trip we went to.
Yeah, maybe next year I'll have to get there.
Yeah.
So who stood out to you so far in improvement in terms of development?
It's got to be Jack McGlynn taking Flock's spot, taking the opportunity to jump up into a starting spot. He showed us this year that he can play defense and not be a liability, like we were talking about earlier. When you do that and show Jim and the coaching staff, they're going to continue to start you. Hence, he started both the Champions League games.
Right.
And another player, Sullivan. At the beginning of the year, he wasn't coming off the bench first for that forward position. It was Torres, and it was Donovan even ahead of him. But I just think Sullivan has taken that opportunity to be that number one striker off the bench. Even though he hasn't fully proved it on the field yet, he's shown those little areas that he has in his game that he can be a quality bench player in a good spot.
And for sure. And I think Quinn's that's the one thing that even on Saturday really stood out to me was he was playing great. Like I kind of would have kept him in maybe a little bit longer, maybe given Ua. I get though, Ua they were trying to break down that second, get that long ball, but I just felt he was a little bit more effective because we were not doing a good job at serving balls to Ua on Saturday. And if you can't get him that ball, it's hard to do anything.
Defense,
yeah,
exactly. So where are you with Glesnes? Because he was, all defense player last year, and this year I feel at times he's improved his game a lot.
Yeah, so he's had his bad moments and he's had his good moments. I mean, he's not at that top level he was last year, just like pretty much all of our players. Right. But he's definitely stepped up just like Damian Lowe. He stepped up this year,
Yeah.
but our defense just hasn't been as good this year. But I think Glasses has been solid. Elliott is the one that I'm more worried about than.
Yeah, and I'm like working on an article on that, and it's a curious case of Jack Elliott, because last year you could have made the argument he was better of the two, even though, I mean, he was midseason defensive player of the year. I still would argue that, it was apples and oranges. I mean, where are you with Jack? Because I don't know what's going on with him. It's just he's mine's there. I mean, we saw it FC on the second leg. Blake makes that great save, and Jack's just sitting there, and the guy knocks the ball in. It's like,
Yeah. McGlynn lost his man, and Jack at the back post just doesn't get there.
yeah,
It was very frustrating. When I seen Jack McGlynn lost his man, then
yeah,
Elliott just wants to stand there at the back post and not do anything. It was frustrating. I just feel like he just loses track at times.
he
I feel like
does.
it's just that second of delay, and he just mishits or just misses his man.
Yeah, and it's just been weird because usually he's been the one that, last year was the one that was always there. So I'm curious to see. I mean, obviously he's talented enough in MLS to be able to correct that. It's a curious case for him.
Yeah, like we were saying, you trust Elliott to be out there and be at top of his team. He's earned that.
He has. And I think Damian Lowe is a product. He's probably better than advertised, but he's also playing next to one of the best, center backs in the league. So that helps. But I mean, we saw it again on Saturday night. Plays a solid game. Yeah, he's gonna make some mistakes here and there. I mean,
That's fine.
but I mean, I think he was in a situation last year in Miami where didn't have a center back or a defense for that matter to help him. And I also think his relationship with Blake obviously helps, because Blake's going to trust him to communicate with the rest of the defense. So where are you at with Damian this year?
I like what Damien's shown this year. We've seen in the early CONCACAF Champions League matches, he showed that he can hang with the big boys. He had a goal in the CONCACAF Champions League. Was it
Yeah,
against was it Atlas?
it was Alianza. He had that
Alianza?
beautiful header.
Yeah. That
Yeah,
sprung, was it
yeah,
3-1 or something like that? But yeah,
yeah.
but he's been dominant when he's been in there. It stinks that he had that injury and he missed like two,
Yeah.
3 weeks, but he's shown that he's back to normal health and he can help this team. I would very love to see that three at the back. I want to see it.
Yeah, I mean, me too, because I think that's right there. Like, somebody needs to get in Jim's ear, whether it's a coaching staff or somebody, and just say, look, we got 3 quality center backs. Let's use them. We can. I know Brendan Craig's probably not an MLS quality back yet. It is what it is, but I'd rather have him as a backup than I don't know who else, what other options are. It's just, we need something back there. And somebody brought up on Tour Spaces, do you think you're just getting bored of playing the diamond all the time?
I just feel like I was saying earlier, I feel like the teams are picking up on us on the diamond.
Yeah.
We do the same thing. We build out the back. We build out of the to Jose to Betway out wide and then ping it to guys. Like it's the same stuff over and over again. And I just feel like it's repetitive and teams are picking up on it.
They are.
That's why we get so many counterattacks against us.
Yeah.
But I just want that 3-5-2.
Yeah, I want a 3-5-2. I even, and I say this to Todd and a couple other people. I still think Torres, McGlynn, a couple other, even Uad played a little bit. Bromby is the wing position. Now, I don't think Jim will ever in his wildest days do a wing formation, but something similar to that, where you could get creative on a random night against a team that matches up well. And I just wish like somebody like Pat Noonan was in that room with the tactical prowess to say, hey, Jim, let's look at this way. So that's going to lead me to my next question. And we hear, especially after LAFC, and fans can be fans. We're all fans. Is the calling out of Jim, now you're starting to see people starting to call Jim out and question him. Is it warranted? Because here's where I'm at with it. I think we all share the frustration with Jim, lack of subbing, lack of certain things. I mean, that's evident. But I mean, come on, is it really warranted to say, hey, I think it's time to move on from Jim? Or is it more of just maybe we thought a little too much of this team, and now I'm not saying we temper our expectations, because I'm never saying that. Is it like maybe it's time to kind of just say, hey, here's the team we have right now. They can turn it around. There's quality talent, or is it a little bit of both? I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that.
In my opinion, it's unwarranted
Yeah.
because where he's brought the club from when he came in to where we
Mhm.
are now,
Right.
nobody would have imagined where we're at. With the type of guys we have around him and on the roster, nobody would have thought we'd have this much quality in our team. I just feel like
Right.
right now, early in the season, we've had injuries, we've
Right.
had multiple
Mhm.
game weeks. We just made it to the semifinals of CONCACAF Champions. Like Jim said, we made it to the final four of the continent. Like, I just feel like it's unwarranted. It's you can't
And
help injuries. It's just
Mhm.
where Jim's have brought us since he came in. It's just we would have never.
right. And here's the other crazy thing. I brought this up. That's 2 semifinals in 3 years.
Mhm.
I mean, I haven't gone back and looked. I've kind of snooped around the last couple years. I probably will at some point go back and look at that. But I just, to me, now we've only really seriously followed the team since 19. That's astonishing to me. Like, you're up there with some of the best in the on the continent. Like,
With those Club Americas, with the Club Leones,
yeah,
with
yes,
LAFC that shown their worth now, that are definitely the
yeah,
best team in MLS right now, and
right.
probably the continent. Like,
And then that was something else that Jim took the people
Mhm.
took that comment that he was like, they're the best team. Yes, they are. You
They
know what I'm
are.
saying? Like, and that's not saying he doesn't believe in his players at
No.
all or the club. It's just the reality of the
It's yeah.
situation. And that's
kudos
fine.
to
Just
you.
being real. Yeah.
Exactly. That's really what that comment was.
Yeah.
What
Stop trying to be snarky. He's telling the truth.
he is.
Mhm.
Where are you with let's get back to the penalty kick on Saturday night, because I do want to talk to you about this. And her and I talk about it all the time when we're watching games. Do we flop too much? Or are we
That definitely was not enough contact. I thought he got on the field because I didn't see any replay or anything. I don't know if you and Todd seen the replay on
we
the little
did.
monitors.
We
I
did.
didn't. Me and Craig couldn't see any of the replays. I thought his foot got clipped by
Me
him.
too. Me
I
too.
didn't see an arm grab his arm. And then I go home after I get home from my hour and a half drive. I see that he actually got pulled on his arm. So I'm like, he got brushed. He didn't get yanked down. I'm shocked when they went to VAR, they didn't overturn it.
Yeah.
Like, why go to VAR for that? I didn't see enough to even overturn anything after you called it on the field. But yeah, honestly, it shouldn't.
It, I it I said this to Todd, and I don't know, and I want to ask you to what your guys up in the
Mhm.
sports section was,
Yeah.
but we were at first I was with you. I was like, that was a clip, that's an obvious PK.
Mhm.
But then like he had the screen on, Todd and I are looking, and at first I'm like, ooh, that's a soft. If they're
Yeah.
gonna give that, that's soft. And so I'm at with yeah, that was a soft PK. He tugged, but yeah, like you said, I don't know if you can call PK in that situation. What was the reaction? Because obviously you're at the other end.
Yeah,
Well,
you guys had
we
the
were at
high
the
up
other.
view. Yeah.
Yeah, we were at the other end, so it was a little farther for us to see. From our angle, yeah, it looked like, it was supposed, it should be a PK. Then of course, everyone, I know a lot of people are going to Twitter saying, "Oh, what are they saying? What are they saying?" Those watching on the screens and being able to have that replay and everything. And of course, I look at what Kyle texts me, and it seemed a little soft, but at the same time, it looked like a legit PK. Of course, we're just at that point. We're like, "Yeah, PK."
Mhm.
Is more of excitement. No one really cares if it,
Yeah,
really should be or not. But the fact of the matter is, it was called a PK on the field, so they had to find proof to overturn it.
right.
So if it had been not called that initially, I don't think we get it.
do you think that like Franza Ua, do you think that sometimes they're just flopping to try a draw, which all, let's be honest, all
Yeah,
great players do.
yeah.
But
Like,
do you think that it's a more of a flop, that they're just flopping to flop, or do you think they're just trying to, because I'm where it's just like I just think sometimes they're trying to draw a penalty, and there's been once or twice this year where I'm like, oh come on, you don't need to flop there.
yeah, there's been one or two times where Carranza's done it in the attacking third, like by the box. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of times where I feel like, especially in Atlas, the second leg, where he was winning all those balls in midfield for us, and he barely got bumped and he was falling down. And we're getting the foul call. So, like, yeah, good.
And
But in the attacking half, he ain't getting none of that. I feel
no.
like Ua just goes down easy no matter what. But
Yeah.
that's soccer nowadays. Like, anytime you feel that contact in the attacking half, you're going to go down. I mean, I
Yeah.
referee all the time and I see it all the time. But yeah, I
It,
just feel like you need to stay on your feet. If you can make a play on that ball, go make a play on the ball.
and I'm in the same way. And I went back and looked at some of his Bromby stuff, and I always find it funny. And if I ever get him on the show, I'm gonna ask him that because he said it like, remember they did that thing where it was like all the little, that girl was asking him all the questions,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
he's like, she's like, do you ever flop me? He's like, I'm an honest player. I keep bringing this up because it's true. It's like, it's a skill, I get it, but like somebody like Neymar, I mean, you want to talk about flopping? Yeah, Neymar, he gets blown on.
King
He's
of
gone.
flops.
Yeah,
You go to Europe and you get a lot of
yeah, you do. I think it's just that's the way they play over there. So,
it.
um, Open Cup or Leagues Cup, which do you think we make a better run at? And then we can transition into tomorrow night's game a little bit.
Uh, Even though I don't care for Leagues Cup, probably Leagues Cup because we just got done on Saturday. They have a day rest. Now we're flying. They're probably already in Minnesota right now.
They
But
left
There,
today.
yeah.
yeah, I just have a feeling bench guys are going to come in. You're probably really not going to see any of the starters come in unless we're losing. I don't think we make it out. No.
No.
I think we lose in Minnesota. And honestly, Leagues Cup, I mean, I won't mind if we make a run in that. I mean, go ahead, but it's just like I just think this tournament is
I agree. I agree. So with Minnesota tomorrow, I mean, what did you think about the whole cup draw? Because that was silly. I get why it was like they drew the shortest stick, but where
yeah.
are you with that?
I feel like the cup draw the last couple years has been not favorable for the Union.
Right,
We went to Orlando last year. I felt like every year we played at home against like a lower division side.
right.
Like it felt like before COVID, I felt like we always played like the Rochester Rhinos or somebody.
Yeah.
Like we always played like a lower division team, and then we got into the MLS teams. Now I feel like since after COVID, we started with MLS teams. I just think
Yeah,
it's like,
Mm.
but yeah, the U.S. Open Cup, I liked it. I went to the Sporting Kansas City Open Cup game
right.
in section 130, and sadly we lost. What was that? Wasn't that penalties or extra time? I
We were just
forget.
talking
But
about that
yeah,
today. I think it was penalties.
yeah,
I think that was the one we
yeah,
lost on penalties.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
Open Cup. I mean, I'm not a big Open Cup guy. I mean, yeah, it gives you a berth in the CCL, but I just can't get behind Open Cup really.
yeah,
Just chaos.
I kind of with you. I think had we beaten made it to the next round, a CCL to finals, I think you could maybe see Jim saying, all right, maybe he probably would definitely shut it down then because and get ready for like Leon.
Mhm.
But I feel also had we done better in the league earlier on this year, he might have made a run. I think right now Jim's saying, okay, we gotta get some points back in the league, gotta get back up on the table, and we got 3 bids to get back to CCL with Leagues Cup. And I'm with you. I'm not a big fan of the Leagues Cup either. I don't even know if they make it to finals. You and I are going to be on vacation. So, it's one of those things though. I think Jim's going to prioritize the league right now, as he should, because we do need to get back up that table. I do not mind the draw though, because it's on the way to Colorado. So, and it gives us an extra day in altitude training. Minnesota has been struggling this year, but
So, yeah.
all the signs are pointing that he's going to heavily rotate. I don't even know if Blake will play. You might
Honestly,
see,
I wouldn't be mad seeing Bendick in there.
I wouldn't mind seeing Holden Trent.
Honestly,
Like,
he might.
let's see
Have
Holden
see what he can
Trent.
do, right?
maybe.
Let's
Yeah.
see Holden Trent go for a game.
Yeah. He's not playing for Union too, Holden Trent. He
Yeah.
has I don't think he's even played for
He didn't
Union
play
too.
last night.
No,
Yeah.
no. Do you think Andrew Rick's the next kind of backup / long-term development plan? Because I watched that game last night. He is good.
Yeah, he's a solid keeper. I wouldn't mind him being a solid number 2B behind Trent when Bendick leaves, because Bendick could be gone next year, so you need a backup to play. So
I I
be
just
interesting.
I just feel like Rick is the long-term, like, kind of Matt Freeze plan, and Holden Trent might in 2, 3 years. I mean, obviously, we got to see what their
Yeah,
development
you
is.
don't know what's going to
Yeah,
happen. Yeah, you don't know about their player development. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, how old's Rick now? 17 or something like
yeah,
that.
he's young. Yeah,
So,
he's got time to develop.
yeah.
So what areas do you think they need to address in the summer window?
Outside striker.
Yeah, I was about to
Backcourt.
say, let me not name striker. Honestly, if Jim is not going to trust Pereira and Torres off the bench, he needs
Right.
to find that hybrid attacker on the right flank or the 10. Gazdag and Bedoya cannot be playing as many minutes as they have.
Correct.
They just physically can't with this amount of games. You just need to find the hybrid where we thought Torres. Honestly, I thought Torres could play that flank,
I
but
did too.
because he has that outside ability. But I just don't think they see him at that at all, and I don't even think they see him as a 10. But honestly, if Bray is not going to get playing time anytime soon, you need to get a new right flanker for potential Bedoya replacement.
Do you think we need to find maybe, let's say everybody stays? Kai is up after this year, and who knows what he's going to do. Do we need to find maybe a left back, or I even say heck, they might move off of Bizo after this year and bring in somebody to back up Harrell.
Yeah, because Harriel's just going to keep moving up and bumping him out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think your top needs. I mean, you don't really need the top need for Wagner right now that in the summer, but
Right.
he's definitely looking. We're definitely
Right.
looking,
Right.
but I just think, like I was saying, if you're not gonna play Pereira and Torres, you need another outside flanker outside of Bueno that can play.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And do you think, and let's ask the obvious, because I'm kind of with you. I wouldn't mind seeing maybe a defensive player. Definitely. We need something else there at the midfield. Like you said, a hybrid. But do we go out? I still think we're going to go out and get another striker, somebody, because I think Jim wants to love Chris Donovan, but and to his point, he actually played half decent when he came in the other day, even though I had my head buried when they announced. I think we all did. Do you think they're going to go, because they almost have to at this point? You just can't be relying on them.
Put it to you this way: you're not gonna make a good playoff run without
Exactly.
without a Corey Burke type player off the bench. I mean, Corey didn't have that great of a game on Saturday, but coming off the bench, having that presence, that's what makes a guy like him.
Watching him play, did you miss him? Because I did. There were some balls he was making passing to that corners, and I'm just like, this is Corey I miss.
I missed his pressing ability off the bench.
Me too.
Because Carranza and Ua can run as much as they want, but Burke is a different beast running after those center back. Right. I felt like Glesnes was scared at points when Burke was running after him. And especially Bedoya, right in front of our faces, right in front of the Union bench. He's running so fast right at us, and we're just passing in a triangle and turning the ball over. That's what you miss late in a game.
Right.
And Sullivan can run like that, but it's just not the same.
Donovan
can do that. It's just not the same.
Because, and let's be honest, they're both very young. They're still developing in their careers. So, yeah, I think they wanted Donovan to be the holdup, and he's just not there developmental physically. So,
just doesn't have the skill set for it.
He doesn't. And the only one of the center backs that really wasn't scared of him was Damian Lowe, and that's only because Lowe knows him.
They both know each other.
Yeah.
It was so funny just watching them, and I know they showed the highlights. I was watching a couple times, and those two were just laughing at each other. They were just out there having fun. Even when you could see when Blake went down after Burke made that foul, like Blake ran, Burke ran over to him and was like, "Oh my gosh, oh my gosh!" Like so sorry. So it's good to see that. I think deep down inside Corey really misses Philadelphia.
Yeah, in the beginning of the game, Burke came over to Curtin and gave him a hug. It's like he had to do it for his family. That's what you do in professional sports.
Absolutely.
We get it.
It's that's professional sports, but it's you miss where you've been. But hopefully you succeed. Wish him nothing but the best. But yeah, I would still love to see him in blue and gold.
Oh, I hated seeing him in red. I'm not gonna lie. I hate seeing him in red. It does not look right. And did you notice though when they announced his name, the Union fans up there, we cheered him. As we should. So, respect. But yeah, I would love to see him come back.
Final question. How you feel, what do you need to see from the Union moving forward to kind of just say, all right, we got to get the ship right? Because I'm still not really worried. It's like you said earlier, it's a long season, but what do you need to see personally, Skyler?
Personally, I need to see less turnovers in the attacking half. We've looked bland in the attacking half this year. Bedoya and Flock on the wings, just turning it over deep into the corners, just trying to pass it back, and then the counterattacks have killed us. It's just we've given up too many sloppy goals this year and just not converted the easy tap ins that we've had. Like on Saturday, early in the game, we had an easy tap in for Goslock, and he just totally whiffs at it.
That was a weird one.
It's just it was a beautiful ball.
It was.
Just
and it was
the little things that need to be perfect, we just don't do. Right. And that's between being a good team and an average team. And so far, we've been an average team this year, but we have potential to get back to being a great team.
We really do. And like you said, like I remember sitting there, I was like, what was he doing? And there was a couple other balls the chances are there. So I'm still confident that we're going to figure it out here this summer. And who knows, it could be as early as Colorado, hopefully, cross your fingers.
We're going to start that run.
But in closing, Skyler, where can they find people find you at?
You can find me on Twitter at skyhoff_3. And I tweet every Union game on Union Nation.
Awesome. Will you be tweeting this Saturday from home?
Yeah, from home, yeah. Actually, I'll be down the shore, actually.
Oh, where at?
Yeah. Wildwood.
Nice. Oh man, I guarded there for a summer. Back in that. It's a good spot. It's a good spot. As a guard, it was a lot. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it's fun time down there.
It is. And you can follow Jillian and I on Twitter at TOTWAG. And then you can follow the show on the One Team We Agree On. That's all one word. And again, we're on Apple, Spotify, and now Google, and on YouTube as well. And Skyler, again, thanks for coming on. We really appreciate it. And hopefully down the road, we can get another panel together. I'd love to get a whole bunch of us together and just talk some more Union, maybe another, because it's all, what now, 10 games in?
Yeah, 11.
Maybe like another 20 or some games. So
that'd be fun. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And for all those going out to Colorado.
If anyone's going out to Colorado, let us know.
We'll be at the Phillies on Friday.
Yep, we're going to the Phillies Friday night and then Union on Saturday. So super excited. Todd Lewis is going out.
Yep.
So I'm excited about that. And trivia question for you, Kyle.
What?
Last year at the Open Cup, who scored our one goal?
Stu Finley,
my favorite dude. So yeah, that was exciting. I miss him.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see what happens tomorrow night. It is what it is, honestly.
Yep.
But we'll be tweeting during that for sure as well.
So
yep.
All right. Well, that's all for today's show. Again, Skyler, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. And we'll see you next time on the One Team We Agree On.